Hello, hello, and welcome. My name is Heidi Wild. If you don't know me, I am excited to be here and share with you about a new brain entrainment system, program, platform, technology. And I'm here with the creator, Morry Zelcovitch. So this is exciting because it's all about energy and frequency and vibration, which I believe everything is. And that what we put out we get back. And when we're in a high vibe, whether we're being out in the world, being in work, being with family, friends, relationships, using tools like AI, it's really important that we are in the zone, that we're in the highest vibe we can be so that we can bring our best self and our peak performance to whatever it is that we're doing or who we're doing it with. So, without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest speaker of honor, Morry Zelcovitch. And I've gotten to know Morry because I am partnered here with the Mind Trainer Pro platform. And Morry, you have such a beautiful heart, and your intention like me and like a lot of us, is to help and to serve and to impact the world. So, can you tell a moment about yourself and then we'll get into some questions?
Sure. So, first of all, thank you, Heidi, for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to see you, and it's a pleasure to speak with you. So, brainwave entrainment, for those of you who don't know, basically uses vibration. I mean, everything is vibration, as Heidi alluded to, but it uses vibration in the form of what we perceive as audio and visual stimulation, so our eyes and our ears. And it uses that to have a positive effect on your brain cells. Your brain cells are also known as neurons. And these neurons pulse on and off so many times a second. And depending on how many times a second they turn on and off, that dictates the state they're in. Everyone's heard of delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, these different states. That just denotes how many times the cell is pulsing an electric pulse in a second. That's all that really matters. And depending on how many times it pulses that beat in a second and the location of the neuron in the brain, that dictates the kind of chemistry that it produces. And why that's important is that the chemistry is what allows you to feel what you feel, to perceive what you perceive, to basically experience things the way you are experiencing it. This is one of the reasons why different people can be in the same situation and everybody experiences it differently because their brain processes the stimulation differently, produces different chemistry, and thus different results. My start came with 40 years of depression. I went from what I call seriously depressed to super depressed. And then I'd bump back up when I felt better, ha ha ha, back into serious depression. And 40 years of suffering through that made me start searching for a way out. One of the ways out was 6 suicide attempts. The thing is, when I tried 6 times and I couldn't succeed, I realized that maybe I don't really want to die. And when I found that I couldn't find a way to die, I had to find a way to live. And that's basically what started me on the road to studying different disciplines, different technologies, different psychologies, medical, neuronal, chemical views, even quantum physics, anything at all that could affect my feeling of perception. And through all of that, I came across this thing called brainwave entrainment, which I would love to tell you I invented, but I didn't. However, I did innovate it because what existed at the time didn't help me. I had to innovate it. I had to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And when I did, that's what turned my life around. Turns out it helps a lot of people because since that discovery years and years and years and decades ago, tens of thousands of people have used my systems to feel better, to behave better, to see the world in a better light. So I hope that answers the question, and I hope I didn't go too far off base, especially at the beginning there.
No, not at all. And wow, every time you share your story, it's so many of us can't believe to how it is to be in that state of depression and um, the fact that you tried several times and didn't succeed or failed and then found a way to make what was out there different which is my next question. So there are a lot of things out there, brainwave entrainments and binaural beats and meditations and affirmations and a lot of different things, which some of them may work for some people, which is great. So we're not here to say that they're bad. It's that yours is very different in what sense? How?
So there's a lot of different things. First of all, traditional binaural beats, in my view, aren't all that effective. I mean, they certainly serve a purpose and they're beneficial. So if any of you out there are using them, I'm not poo-pooing them at all. But I've developed, for me, it wasn't sufficient. So I developed what's been termed lately something called next generation binaural beats, advanced binaural beats. Uh, and basically, it uses different types of stimulation, a different way of delivering it to the brain so that the effect from the pulse tones is far stronger. And the stronger we are, the stronger our stimulation, the stronger the effect and the effectiveness. The problem with binaural beats was, for me at least, that when you look at it on an oscilloscope, which measures the highs and the lows of frequency, the difference between the top and the bottom was here. This is the top, this is the bottom. So this area here is the difference between the top and the bottom. I use something called monaural tones and isochronic tones, which again are advanced forms of binaural beats. That's the difference between the top and the bottom.
The top
Far
and the
greater
bottom of what?
of the frequency modulation tone. So when you hear beep, 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 that's the difference. For a binaural beat, when it comes to your brain's expression and experience with it, it goes beep, 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 beep. It's just not powerful. It's not very strong.
Wow. So yours is
Yeah.
different and very
Well, that's
effective.
just one of the ways that it's different. I incorporate spoken word into a lot of what I do as well. I have a technology called triliminals, which incorporates 5 or 6 of my techniques. One of them is I speak to you in your left ear for your right hemisphere of your brain, and the right ear for the left hemisphere. That's how perception works, by the way. Information on one side goes to the other hemisphere, opposite hemisphere. And then I'm also speaking to you in the center of the head, which goes to both hemispheres. On top of that, I have a special, I guess you can call it a mask frequency, which is a series of 600 frequencies laid over each other one at a time. Most of them are designed, as I just said, as a mask. So it blocks external noises from disrupting your session. But some of these frequencies, I believe, are resonant with different regions of your brain, meaning they hyperactivate them. They make them more sensitive, meaning the effect of the tone, the brainwave tone, which kind of sounds like this, bom, 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 ends up being amplified. And that amplification ends up in a much stronger, much more efficient, and more effective technique to get the brain to entrain, which means follow.
Mm.
So we're getting your neurons, which are pulsing at whatever rates they want to pulse at. And then I present a tone, and then your brain starts following that tone. And that helps to inspire your brain to release the desired type of chemistry, which of course then translates into the desired type of experience of what's going on around you.
Wow.
So this is again some more of the stuff that I do. All of this happens at the same time, by the way. And the brain beat, the ba 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 that you'll hear, actually creates a state in your brain called long-term potentiation. In science, it's just called LTP. That's literally your brain's ability to form memory pathways. So if you've ever been in a situation, because I have, I can tell you for sure, where I've been at a party, for instance, and I shake hands, hey, Morry, meet Joe, Joe, meet Morry, and then 10 seconds later, I don't remember Joe's name,
Hmm.
just gone. That is because long-term potentiation, that state was not active in my brain. If it's not active, it goes in one ear and out the other.
Literally.
If it is active, you form a neural pathway,
So
and that
does
neural pathway
so does
helps
your
to.
technology help build those muscles so that we can have better memory and retention and potentiality, as you say?
I I can't make medical claims, so I'm not going to say yay or nay. I will say that's an excellent question, and that's why people should try it and use it consistently so they can answer that question for themselves. Because let's face it, even a Tylenol, which might help you with muscle pain and headache, may not help me with muscle pain or headache. So ultimately, research is nice, and I certainly do it. And I have a trial team to test all my stuff before I release it. But that being said, your experience is going to be the ultimate proof for you.
You do say that we are our own gurus and that we have
Yeah.
our own answers, and I can totally appreciate that. And you also say that the I am statements, that your voice affirmations are not I am statements. I know from experience from listening that there's a different uh, strategy and philosophy that you have on.
Yeah. So I found, because I've done affirmations for probably 30, 40 years, every single day. And I even did a little research after, which I can get into if you want. I don't know how much time we have, so I'll be cautious not to get into it right now. But what happens is we learn from the outside in. We do not learn from the inside out. So if I am saying, I am happy, I am rich, I am this, I am that, then first of all, you paid money to hear me brag about how good I am. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. But if I start saying, I am rich, I am this, I am that, and I know I'm not, that actually sabotages your psychology. It sabotages you because you know you're not. I am rich, I have tons of money, I am rich, I have tons of money. Well, in 3 weeks, I have to pay my rent. And I don't know if I should pay my whole rent or pay part of it and ask the landlord for a break because if I don't pay all my rent, I can afford to eat or maybe get the antibiotic the doctor prescribed for me or something else that I need.
Wow,
So if I know that I'm not rich and I keep repeating I'm rich, it's the most annoying, aggravating thing in the world,
I understand. Right,
right? But
right,
if, on the other hand, you say, or you hear, because you're hearing my voice, you are, or it is, then the brain goes through a natural process of thinking, what does Morry see in me? What does this voice see in me that I'm not seeing? And you don't consciously think that, but it's a seed that's kind of psychologically planted. And you start figuring out ways that you are rich. I'm rich in opportunity. I'm rich in relationships. I've got a beautiful, loving sister, brother, daughter, father, mother, husband, wife, dog, cat, goldfish, whatever. You'll end up naturally figuring out how it makes sense to you because that's how we learn. We do not learn from the inside out. When we're born, the popular phrase is tabula rasa, which means blank slate. We get our information from the outside in. So I just use that same philosophy and that same technique, but I changed the content. Instead of the content that was negative, that made you think that everything sucks and the universe is bad and there's no opportunity for you and so and so's rich and I'm poor and blah, 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 blah. We used the same concept that worked, that gave you all your negative thoughts, but we changed the content to something positive. And
wow,
by changing it into something positive and repeating it over and over and over again, because that is how we learn, it changes the programming. It changes what I call the negative reflexive thought process. And an example of that is getting a phone call at midnight if you don't get a phone call. So tell me, Heidi, what happens to you if you get a call at midnight and you don't normally get one? What's your first thought in your head?
no, something's wrong.
Right. But why does it have to be that? Why can't it be some mother, cousin of yours just found out that their daughter's pregnant and they can't hold back the beautiful news? Or maybe they won a lottery and they're in a different time zone and just were so excited they forgot. You're in California, I'm in Ontario. For you, it's 8 o'clock. For me, it's 11, right?
Right.
So you don't have to think this way all the time. And when we start looking for positives and good things instead of the bad things, it changes what we observe. It changes literally. Quantum physics says nothing exists until it is observed. Well, when we observe something, we also give it meaning. If we stop giving it a negative meaning and instead give it a positive meaning, that will transmute whatever we're looking at into something good
Right.
because we create literally we are our own guru, as you said, and we transmute that. We are our own creator. We
Mm,
create our experience. And if people don't believe me, just look at everyone around you. Everyone has different experience. How do you explain that if we all live in the same world?
Sure, sure. So, first to set the record straight, I am in New England, in East Coast,
Oh,
so- which that's okay. So we all deal with these chronic stresses out there. And how does your system, because you have one for calm clarity, you have lots of different systems out there. So can we talk about your systems for a moment? How does one choose a system to purchase? That we sell them individually, by bundles. There's an all-inclusive pack. And how does your system calm the nervous system? How does it relax it? Is it actually changing the neural pathways in our brain, our central nervous system, when we listen to these tones and voice and visuals? You also have visuals in your systems.
yeah. So you're really married to the idea of trying to get me to commit to making a medical claim, which I will not do.
No, I don't want
So, well, calming nervous system, that's a medical claim.
to.
All
Okay.
these types of questions are medical claims. What I can tell you is that through the process of entrainment, in other words, let's talk audio recordings and you're hearing ba 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 through a feature of your brain called the frequency following response. And this is something everybody's probably experienced already, even if they've never done entrainment. It's the same concept of bopping your head and tapping your toes when you're listening to music. You're not trying to bop your head, you're not trying to tap your toes. This is just something automatically happening. That is based in a feature of your brain called the frequency following response, where it is exposed to a frequency like a pulse beat or a drum beat or whatever, a baseline. And then because it's a stable stimulation, it gets followed. So the neurons start following that behavior. Your feet start following it. They get entrained to the same beat pattern. When we are in more stable patterns, the theory is that we can be more calm, we can be more sedate, we can be more clear. There are certain brain waves that have been associated with different states and different feelings and different abilities. So if we can get a dominant number of your brain waves to start mimicking those brain waves, the theory is that you should be getting more of that experience. So again, this is something you have to experience for yourself. But we have tons of testimonials from people, and testimonials I can talk about because that's what people are actually saying. It's their experience. They're not making a medical claim. They're just saying, hey, I use this and my tinnitus isn't as bad as it was. Hey, I use this and I'm sleeping better. Hey, I use this and now I can sleep on my side. I always used to, but I haven't been able to for decades for some reason. Don't know why, but since I've been listening, now I can sleep on my side comfortably. These are all experiences, but keep in mind that the most important part of these systems is actually your brain. So your brain and your mind knows, in my view, it knows what it needs. That means that even though we have laser focused systems, because we have systems for clarity, we have systems for business and for sales and for public speaking and for confidence and all kinds of different things, your brain gets stronger, and whatever your brain can do, it does better, or it's likely to do better. That's the theory. That's the operating protocol that I go based on.
Mm.
I treat the brain like a muscle. So if I exercise my body and I make all my muscles stronger, then it's not just good enough that I can do more exercise. It means everything those muscle groups are capable of, I am now capable of doing everything better, longer, faster, with better resiliency. So when it comes to, the medical claims, again, great questions. Try it and see for yourself. Listen with the intention. Pay attention too, because I'd like to ask everyone out there who's watching this right now, how many of you have paid attention to the elbow on your left arm up until this very second now when I pointed it out to you? That's because there's a pretty good chance, and those of you who have, probably because it's sore or painful. That's what we're taught to pay attention to: pain, disease, discomfort. When things are going particularly well, i.e., my elbow doesn't hurt, I don't notice my elbow. So it's sometimes not so easy to notice you're getting benefits from brainwave entrainment because it's making you feel good. And we're not brought up or taught to pay attention to good. We ignore good. We take it for granted. We don't pay attention to it. Most of the people who use my systems find out because they'll suddenly realize they didn't react a certain way that they normally do react. Or their boss at work will say, "Hey, by the way, I don't know what you're doing, but you're suddenly, you're much more efficient. You're doing your job really well. I just wanted to tell you." This is the kind of benefits that we get that often we won't notice. I can't tell you how many clients call me up and say, "Hey, I enjoy listening, but I'm not getting any benefits." And after a 20-minute conversation, they've mentioned 8 or 10 benefits they're getting, but they were looking for purple and they were getting red and orange and green and yellow. You know, they were getting all these benefits, but because they were zeroed in on one particular benefit, they weren't seeing all the other benefits that they were getting.
Would they call you back a week later and say, "Oh my goodness"?
I had a friend who ran a session and he said, I felt nothing at all, absolutely nothing. And then 3 hours later, after he was home, he called me up and he said, I was driving home and if I get cut off, I live in a city where, or I used to then, where drivers are very selfish and they just cut you off right, left, and center. And he told me, when I get cut off, I usually give them the finger and I yell and I scream. And I realized just now that I was cut off twice and it didn't affect me at all.
Wow, that's cool. So,
Yeah.
um, what's one thing as we wrap up here? I want to ask you a couple more questions. What's one thing about the brain that you wish everybody knew?
Okay, let me just finish answering the other question. I just realized I went so far into one, I didn't go into the other. Very simple way to choose the recordings
Oh,
because if
yeah.
you get all access, there's a ton of recordings. Even if you get just one system, there's a fair amount of recordings. You may find other products out there that have one recording for everything. So one recording for this purpose and for that purpose and for this purpose and that purpose. That's not how the brain works. Your brain is always in multiple frequencies. The trick is to get it into a dominant frequency, which means the other frequencies are still there, but most of your neurons are hopefully following the path that we're leading them to. To pick recordings, and we have this in the instructions in the app and in the PDFs. It's quite simply pick one recording, listen to it, and then just rotate. And if you have 30 systems, which we don't have yet, but we will, and you have like 400 recordings, there's no reason to get overwhelmed because they're designed to be what I call synergistically compatible. Because they're synergistically compatible, what that does is it makes them work together in unison.
Mm.
Meaning, if I have a system for confidence, if I have a system for PTSD, if I have a system for this or for that or for something else, and I'm not saying I have one for PTSD, by the way, I'm just using that as an example, then you can literally listen one day to recordings from one system, the next day recordings from the other system, the next day the recordings from another system. And you can listen to one, two, or even three in a day, depending on how much time you have. And they will all work together to help give you the benefits from all of them combined.
Mm.
So that's how you pick the recordings to listen to. You'll find after a couple of months that your intuition will guide you to specific recordings. That's when you start following your intuition. But until then, listen for the first month or two according to that protocol I just gave you and the one that's listed, and that'll give you the best results.
Okay,
So I
and
apologize. What was the new question?
would you recommend either over the ear headphones or bone conduction headphones for the best results?
So bone conduction are a little uncomfortable to wear for this because they fit in they kind of go this way, which means they have this thing in the back. So if you're lying down, it can push them out of position sometimes. So what I do is I put them on and then I just rotate them over and I'm lying down and it looks a bit like I'm wearing a stupid football helmet. But when I'm lying down, I don't care. And
Sure.
it works perfectly fine. But over the ear stereo headphones are good. Don't use anything with noise cancellation. It's okay if the ear cups are noise canceling because they're foam and they block sound. That's fine. But nothing with electronic noise cancellation. Bass boost is fine if you want to do that. You don't need expensive headphones. I have a pair of headphones here that I got at a store. They cost me $10.
Mm.
And when I don't use my bone conduction, these are the headphones that I use. You do not need to spend a ton of money. The technology is not built into a device. That's another major difference between what we do and what others do. The technology is not built into a device. The technology is built into the audio and visual recordings themselves.
Mm.
So there's nothing for you to forget. You put these up, they're streamed. So all you do is access them anywhere, anytime, from any computer, any tablet, any phone. And all you need is the headphones and you're good to go.
And there's no
There's nothing
work.
to follow and break.
Push
There's
the
no
button,
work to do. Yeah, there's no studying to do. There's
right?
nothing.
So, for those that are curious that want to explore this further, go to HeidiWilde.com. That's HeidiWilde.com /MTP. That's Mind Trainer Pro. So I'm going to give that again. HeidiWilde.com /MTP. There is a free sample download, digital download. It's called Digital Coffee. People are getting amazing results from that. There's also choices that you can take a look at the systems. You can buy them individually for pennies a day. You can buy a bundle. You can buy an all-inclusive pack for the year, for life. There's lots of choices. There's a lot more coming. We launched recently, so this is going to be growing along with you. So I would love to have you test it out. You can cancel anytime, there's no commitment, and transform your life because this can be transformational. And again, I love what you said about intention. Setting the intention prior to a session and let it roll.
Yeah,
So,
and if I can just add one little point,
of course.
I told everyone about my depression and how it turned me around. And that's my testimonial. Okay, again, I'm not making a medical claim, I'm just telling you my experience. But that being said, you don't need to be depressed to use this. You don't need to be disjointed. You don't need to be down. You don't need to be poor. You don't need to be anything. Whatever you are, you're a human. And there is no ceiling to what you can achieve. There is no ceiling to how good you can feel. There's no ceiling to how good you can make others feel around you. Wherever you are, you're making 10 figures, you're making 3 figures. It doesn't matter. You can always be better. And that's the beauty of this. Another beautiful part is that with a pill or a treatment regime, a doctor or someone else gives you this to do, and it's for you to do because this is designed for you. This is the kind of thing that you can use, but your spouse can use it too. Your mother can use it too. Your kid can use it too, as long as the kid's not lower than 12 years old. But
That's a good point.
that's the trick. There are very few things out there that are for, let's say, a caregiver and the person needing the care. This is something that's like that because everybody has a brain. And believe it or not, everybody uses 100% of their brain unless there's some physical damage.
Mm.
And we can make that hopefully more efficient and more
Well,
beneficial.
well, thank you so much for this time today. And Morry, for everything you're doing for humanity, for lifting the vibration of the world. And I love you. I love your heart. I'm so excited to partner with with you and bring this to the world. So again, HeidiWilde.com /MTP. If you'd like to check it out, explore it, see if your company, your athletic team, your network marketing team, your corporation can use this because it is transformational. So thank you so much, everyone, for your time and have a great day.